Okay, welcome to the podcast, Lisa Reid. Thank you very much for joining me. How are you going today, for starters?
I am going good, thank you. Thanks for
Excellent.
having me.
No, no
Just come
problem.
back
No.
from a sports chiro appointment, so
Oh, okay, cool.
yeah, all good.
Well, I was going to ask that. I was going to sort of open by I know you're very much an individual who's a creature of habit. You like a lot of structure,
hmm
routine in your life. So, what does a typical Friday look like for you?
Oh, look, my Fridays are my less structured day just
Okay.
because I don't have set work hours on a Friday. Every other day, it still starts the same day though. So I wake up at, 4:35, whatever it is. I head to the gym. I'll do like steps on the treadmill normally, to start with. Then I'll do my training session, normally like come home, eat breakfast. Otherwise, Friday is my day, to go, yeah, get that sports chiro done or like massages or something like that. That
Okay.
generally will always happen. Yeah. And then I'll come home. If I do work, that's kind of like my work day. Yeah, if you want a normal, like a general normal day though, Monday to Thursday, it's a bit different.
A bit different. Do
Yeah.
you prioritize your training around your work, or because I know obviously work's relatively flexible
Yeah.
for you, given your
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. My training is always in the morning just because I've found that for me, that is when I enjoy it the most. I know that's just when I get the most out of it. If I train in the afternoon or something like that,
Mhm.
I am just not quite as energized. And just not, yeah, really. I just love training in the morning for me. I love setting up my day, waking up, doing that. When I'm in prep, like it even starts earlier because I'll do posing in the morning as well. Like I'll do, more time doing steps and stuff like that. Cardio though, no, that was always in the afternoon. I didn't enjoy doing that in the morning. So
Fair enough. So
yeah,
you'd make an effort to go back to the gym in the
I
afternoon
would go back
with
in the
that, yeah.
afternoon. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Mm.
Fair enough.
But
Cool. Okay.
no cardio in off season at the moment. So
No, no, hey,
yeah,
happy days. Yeah.
one trip to the gym.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much for giving up your time this morning. And, I
Thank
thought it'd be a
you.
great opportunity now that things have settled down. You're sort of, several weeks past your season,
Yeah.
that we can maybe have a chat about not only your recent success, as I said off
hmm
camera, but also I wanted to sort of delve back several years because you've been in this sport now, what, 10 plus years, I think. Is that correct?
I did my first show in 2014, so it's
14.
coming
So
up in
there you
in
go.
September. It'll be 10 years.
Wow. Okay. So, obviously you climbed a lot of mountains in that time and had
Yeah.
some tremendous success. But take me back because I know your sister's still involved in cheerleading. Is that your
Yes.
background too? I know you were a
Yeah.
dancer as well. So you did some
Yeah.
cheerleading as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was a dancer. So mum put us, like, me and my sister both into dancing. I think 4 or 5, yeah, when I started.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that was essentially all I did. I didn't do any other sports or anything like that. So for me, all of my sport, all the physical like background, it was just purely dancing. All in my early, the early days, all throughout school and stuff like that, it was very focused on ballet was like my main focus, as well as I did, jazz, tap, all the other stuff as well. I kind of went to Melbourne a few times because I was part of the like Australian Ballet, like the interstate program that they kind of had. So I was quite serious about that. So ballet and bodybuilding are like a little bit different. Would
Hey,
never have
Arnold did
seen
it.
that kind of happen. Yeah, true, true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I did that. And then as I kind of got older, once I turned 18, that's when I kind of started to do more like professional kind of. So I moved into the cheerleading, and then I was part of a bit of a dance agency as well. Just a side kind of hustle.
Okay.
But yeah, I did that. I loved it. I did cheerleading for, I think it was like 7 or 8 seasons I did that for.
Is that
Um,
NBL? Was that basketball?
NBL.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that was
Yep.
basketball. Yeah.
Yep.
So the Cairns team there. So I did that, and then I kind of stopped in like 2018. It was kind of like not like my focus is 100% on bodybuilding right now. Like I could
Yeah.
kind of even feel like everything was getting harder dancing, like me trying to jump and kick my legs and stuff like that. Yeah, so that's kind of when I stopped, and I was like, no, like I knew I had to prep during that season. I was like, nah, my competing is my 100 like top priority. And
Unreal.
yeah, that's but
So
yeah.
how did you come across bodybuilding then? Because obviously back in 2014, it's nowhere near the beast it was.
Yeah,
Today. So
I
did you just
know.
stumble across a poster in the gym, or, how did that sort of transition?
Yeah, so exactly. So it was, I think I'd only even just got so like an Instagram account by then. So obviously there was nothing on social media or anything like that. I didn't know anything about it.
Yep.
I had done a gym challenge, just one of the, like 8-week kind of gym challenges. I did
Sure.
that first, and I loved it. Like, I fell in love with that process, having that goal, having something to stick to. I'm obviously quite competitive as well. So for
Yep.
me, it's like I went from someone who I used to hate waking up in the mornings. Like, I was such a night owl. Like, I started to wake up early to go to boot camp, and then I go back in the afternoon, and I had a meal plan, and I loved it. And then
Yeah,
when
right.
that finished, I was like, oh, like I want to do something like this again. And then my partner at the time, his sister, she had actually just started to do a bodybuilding prep. So I kind of like switched my attention to her, and I was like, what's she doing? So I was kind of like watching what she was doing, and I was like, I want to do that too. And so I pretty much like asked who her coach was, messaged her coach, and we literally started prep straight away.
Oh, wow.
My first show. So yeah, there was no off season. No foundation season or anything
Yep.
like that. Like, I hadn't even followed like a strict like a weight training program at that stage. It was just all group classes, like functional training classes and stuff like that. So don't do what I did. But
you don't know what you don't know, right?
no, exactly. I mean, that's how I got into it. And so
Wow.
I hadn't seen any shows. Like, I even remember trying to find stuff online, like trying to look on YouTube for videos and stuff like that of what cruising looked like. And yeah, it was a bit of a different world back then.
Yeah, absolutely. So what was your first show? It would have been an INBA show, maybe in Townsville?
It was an A and B in Townsville.
A&B. Okay.
Yeah. So I did A and B in Townsville. I couldn't do the INBA that year. I had a wedding. I mean, these days, if I have a wedding, I've missed weddings before to compete. But
hey, priorities, right?
yeah, not back then. So I did that one, and then I also did another one in Cairns. They just had their own little federation kind of thing in Cairns around. So yeah, that was my first show. So it was a 12-week prep for that first one. I went straight into fitness. I know a lot of girls start in bikini, but I was obviously way too small, did not have enough muscle, but I was way too lean to do bikini. So I was very shredded. So I did that, and I didn't place. Clearly, I was too small.
Hey, we've all been there.
Yeah. That's how it started.
Unreal. So obviously you got the taste for it. You enjoyed the process. You enjoyed the structure.
Yeah.
What happened after that? Because obviously you've competed several times since then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those comps, I think, were 2 weeks apart from each other. After I did the second one, I went overseas the next day for 5 weeks. Again, did that. But I loved it. So that honestly, just that first show when I didn't place, it really already, I was like, oh my God, I love this. Like, I loved it. I mean, especially coming from a dancing background, for me, just getting the opportunity to be on stage again and stuff like that to show my hard work. And there's a lot of similarities. Like, with dancing, I would practice, rehearse for months and months and months for a 2-minute routine at like an Eisteddfod. Same sort of thing. Like, whereas this would be the same thing. You'd prep for, months and months and months just to go on stage for a few minutes. So there were obviously a little bit of like a lot of similarities. And I loved it. And then after that, I then kind of was like, oh, I love this. Like, I want to win. Like, it obviously, it changed a lot from there. So I, again, didn't have a coach in that off season. Like, I only pretty much was with him through the prep. Again, I didn't have the knowledge back then that, that is where you're going to make all of the improvements in the off season. But I knew I wanted to do straight away. Like, I knew that I wanted to do another show. So I did the next year. I did like the AMB. I did, that was my first tropic show as well that year. And
that was 2015, yeah?
Yeah.
I think you competed against Monty in that year.
Yes, I did.
Angels, I think, maybe. Yeah.
I did that. Yeah. So, and then from there, again, I got more of a taste for it, really, really liked it. But again, I wasn't really with a coach for that off season, but then that's when I found Joey as well. Yeah. And then from there, it just, I've done 4 seasons since then. So
nice. Unreal.
Yeah.
So once you obviously got a little bit of a taste for it and you understood the process a little bit more, understood the geography of the landscape, was IFBB always on the table for you, or was it a case of let me get to the top of the podium first, get some success, and then see what's what?
Yeah, it was definitely to me, IFBB was something that like I wasn't even going to do. Like, for me, I remember someone asking me and I was like, I'm not on PEDs. Like, I don't have fake boobs. Like, no, I'm not doing it. Like, that was I was very closed-minded, and that was, that was just my, I suppose, limiting belief about myself at that time. That no, like, I couldn't do that. And it definitely was a matter of me like climbing all the ladders. So like, I wanted to get my first win, my first overall win. I wanted to get my first state win, national win, Pro Card win, like there were a lot of steps that I kind of wanted to climb. But then obviously, you know, maybe like from 2017, it kind of started to become like, oh, like I used to pay more attention to it, but I still had a lot more steps that I wanted to climb before I even like looked at that essentially. Yeah.
So the ICN Pro Card was the first one you won, wasn't it? Sports model?
Yes.
Is that right?
No, fitness.
Fitness. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you won the world title on the Gold Coast.
Yes.
At 18, 2018?
That was the same year. Yeah, that was the same year.
Yeah, I remember I was actually backstage at the time, and I remember you coming off stage having won, and I think Nelson captured a really cool moment.
Yes,
Joey.
me and Joey,
and obviously that showcases just the level of, I guess, passion that you had because you won. You're best in the world. So, you know, can you sort of walk us through those moments after, you know, because you've obviously dedicated your life since the first one to that point. Won the tree. You've won that moment. You know, what's it?
Yeah, that was such an incredible moment. And to be honest, I didn't have expectations for that show. Obviously, everyone goes into the show wanting to win. Like, of course, I wanted to win. But back then too, I know the pro shows are a lot smaller. Like, I mean, they have been the last couple of years, but back then I think there was like 15 of us, I think, in my division. And I remember even telling people, like, don't expect anything. Like, don't expect anything. I mean, me, I really wanted to. Like, I wanted it, but yeah, and it was like definitely a bit of shock, like very much shock. I didn't really know, you know, even throughout, didn't really get moved much like in the division, like just had no idea. And I was honestly just having the best time on stage first because again, it was in the Gold Coast. All of it, like so much, like many of our team members were all there. They were so loud. Like I listened back to the videos and I'm like, oh my God. My mum was there. Like it was just, I was just having the best time up on stage. And then when Jason called my number, yeah, it was definitely like probably a little bit of shock. You know, like got up, got, you know, the sash, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, coming down. And then, yeah, Nelson did capture that moment with Joey. And it was just, yeah, that was such a really, really, really special moment and did kind of, again, I mean, I'd had moments before that had really like cemented that, you know, I'm on the right track. Like I can really, really do this. But yeah, that was just another moment when I was like, okay, wow, that was the next thing that I wanted to tick off again, like on my thing. And I've done it like really like soon, like straight away kind of thing. So yeah, it was,
you mentioned that your mum was at that show. I know your family would watch you often. Do they completely understand the world of bodybuilding? Because I know, speaking from my own personal experience, my parents have come and watched me, but they don't really get it. So do your family sort of embrace it and understand the dieting and the training and the commitment and the say selfishness of it?
Yeah, absolutely. They do. I'm very, very lucky. I mean, obviously not at the start. It was, I mean, I suppose it was a whole new world for me. So a whole new world for them as well. You know, me doing that. And I actually moved back home for about I was home for one prep. Like I'd moved back home. This was back in 2015, I think it was. So I guess they even got to see more of it. And they were so helpful and supportive. Like my mum, if I'd be at the gym late or something like that, like I'd be like, oh, can you cut up my sweet potato and measure it or whatever? Like she would do it. So they were very, even on, I remember like in my early days, like obviously it was foreign to them, but they definitely just supported it essentially. You know, mum used to come with me, like even my sister as well. Dad works like a lot as well during seasons when he can't really take time off, but he's been to you know, when there was like a Ken show. But I remember being at Christmas one day when I was on prep and I was obviously, you know, weighing out all my food and stuff like that. And you know, there were other people there and they were kind of like, oh, like it's Christmas, like it's one day, like what are you doing? And my parents were both just like, we're so proud of you, like look how strong you are. Like they were just kind of like, they kind of know, and they just, so I'm very, very, very lucky in that regard, that even though they're not in the world and they don't really understand it or anything like that, and they definitely don't go to the gym and blah blah blah, but I think they definitely know the amount of time and commitment and stuff like that. That does go into it. So they just let me be me, really.
That's awesome. No, that's really good, because obviously, you know, I've seen it firsthand as a coach where even partners sometimes don't get it or they don't fully buy in. So, you know, it's really good that not only, you know, we know Joey's obviously heavily involved, but from your family perspective, there's no resistance or, you know.
No. And even with like my close friend group, like again, I obviously have a very strong close friend group here who are involved in the industry, but my friends from back home, like they weren't. And they've always been like so supportive, like to me too, always. Like always, you know, they would come to watch my shows. Or if I was out and, you know, I'm just having a Pepsi Max instead of having drinks, like they never once made me feel guilty. They never once pressured me. Like they were just always just so supportive, even though they weren't in that world. So I definitely do have to, you know, say thanks and just like to those people, because maybe a lot of my success does come because I've had just such supportive people around me as well. You know, not really providing any resistance to kind of, you know, what I wanted to do and achieve. So I'm
Absolutely.
very lucky.
No, that's good. That's good. You've got a really strong circle, which obviously provides, I guess, a cement in terms of you know, having success, really, because you're not worried about people thinking about you. So that sort of segues really well into your off season, because you're obviously in that now. You've had several over the years.
Yeah.
How does that look in terms of your adherence to your plan and your program and stuff? Will you, you know, go out for the occasional meal? Will you have an alcoholic drink? Like, do you provide yourself with a bit more flexibility, or are you fairly regimented in your approach in the off season as well?
Yeah, look, I feel like as the years have gone on, the kind of line between prep and off season has just become like way more blurred. Like, just when you're, you know, so immersed and involved in the industry and stuff like that. Like I live and breathe this lifestyle. So it's very, very similar. Do I allow a little bit more flexibility? Yes, but I'm also extremely, extremely regimented still. So when it comes to my training, you know, I will never miss a session at all. Like if I'm away or something like that, I'll work around it. I'll do an extra session the week before or find a gym or something like that. So it's just, as my years have gone on, I just know how important it is to stay regimented with it the whole time through off season. Like that's where all the improvements are made. So I don't want to get to a prep at the end of prep and, you know, not achieve what I wanted to and think, oh, well, I kind of took the piss in the off season. In saying that, do I allow myself flexibility? Yeah, of course. Like I still, I mean, firstly, like the benefit of being on following macros and stuff like that is that I can fit things into my day and I'm in a surplus. I've got a lot of calories. So, you know, if I want to go to a date night with Joey to like grilled, I could easily just track that. So it's still in my macros. If I want to get fish and chips or something like that, like it's still easily trackable. But then we will also, like if we go on a date night to a restaurant or something like that, yeah, that's a free meal. Do I think about the rest of the day though? Yeah, like I ensure I hit my protein for the rest of the day, and I may like, you know, cut back my carbs and fats and stuff like that. Or if it's like a wedding or something like that. Yeah, so I'd say if you're talking about adherence to my macros, like 95% for the whole prep, I'd say something like that. Just allowing those few occasions. And then when it comes to alcohol, I don't really enjoy drinking alcohol, so I barely drink it. Ask Jory, I'm terrible at it. It'll take me 3 hours to drink a glass of wine. But if it's a special occasion, yeah, but it's very, very, very rare.
Yeah, cool. So in regards to that world title, ICN world title, the next step for you was obviously WNBF. Now, was that the same year or was that the year after that you went overseas?
Yeah, that was the same year. So that was 3 weeks after.
Okay. So then you went and you competed in bikini fitness.
Bikini. Yeah. They don't have
took out the world title and won your pro card in the same instance. Yeah. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
And where was that? That was in the States somewhere, obviously.
Yes, that was in LA.
LA, cool. So talk us through that experience. Was that your first time competing overseas?
Yes.
Yeah. So take us through that experience, because obviously getting to LA, we're talking, you know, obviously 10 plus hours of travel, accommodation, different environment, different time zone, food, all the bits and pieces. Yeah. Walk us through that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that was such a fun experience, like for sure, like getting to do that first WNBF show. Like I kind of wanted to, since I'd signed up with Joey and I'd seen his clients kind of go the year before, I was like, yeah, I want to do the 2 years before, I think I was like, yeah, I want to do this. So yeah, did that. And so obviously he gave us he had quite a few of us. I think there was about 6 or 7.
Yeah, I remember there was quite a few.
Yeah, there was quite a few of us. Anyway, so we all obviously got like the plan that he has, and it's kind of split into time. So like when you're, you know, 6 hours into your flight, this is what you're eating. When you're, you know, 5 hours into your flight, these are the macros you're eating, like certain water, blah, blah, blah. So it was all kind of set out for us. So it was honestly like quite easy, like no real issues with the flight. Because it was in LA, we didn't have to worry about, you know, any layovers or something like that to like the next flight. It was just, I was already in Brisbane at that time because I'd stayed in Joey for a few days before that. So it was just literally just like the one flight. And then we arrived at like 6 a.m. So essentially it was just like the start of a new day. So that was really easy. I didn't really like my body, like I don't really get fluidy or anything like that. Not when I'm that lean anyway. So there was no real stresses for me, like once I arrived, about needing to kind of like get rid of, you know, a bit of fluid and stuff like that. So that part of it was pretty, yeah, like just went pretty smoothly essentially. We stayed in a house with, I think there was me and two other girls who competed, and another girl, so there was 4 girls, and then Joey was also there. So it was so much fun just getting to do that, getting to prep for a few days, train at Gold's Gym, you know, go to Whole Foods and all the Walmarts and stuff like that. So it was just it was really, really fun. We went to Universal one day, went to the Lakers game the other day. Yeah, it was fun.
How good. How good.
Yeah.
And the show day experience, because obviously WNBF Worlds has a reputation for running well into the night, right? So they sometimes finish at 2 a.m. or even later. How did you find that whole experience?
Yeah, it was a long day. It was a very, very long day. I was the last person on stage.
Oh wow. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, because the bikini overall, as always, bikini's last. Yeah, so I mean it was a cool experience because for me, you know, there was so many different, you know, girls from different countries and stuff like that. So, you know, getting to be backstage, that was really cool, but it was a very, very long day. So they split it up. It's obviously split over into 2 days now, but back then it was split up into pros and amateurs, as well as pre-judging and finals.
Right.
So the pros were first. So it was all the pros in the morning. And I was obviously there because we had a team there and we did already have like, you know, pros. So we had to be there like early. So I was there from the start, like, I don't know, 7 o'clock or something like that in the morning. All the pros did their pre-judging, and then it was time for our pre-judging. So we didn't get on stage for our pre-judging until like 5 or 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Like, and that was just the amateurs pre-judging. Like that wasn't even finals. So yeah,
it's a long day. I mean, it's a long day in
day.
general, just in you know, with a show in Australia because you're waiting around for several hours. But that's a you know, 14-hour day or something. So
yeah, because you think about it, all the bodybuilders and all of that, they all have their routines. Like it wasn't, now it's only like top 5 who do it. Back then it was every single competitor does it. So it was like routine after routine after routine. Anyway, so then they obviously did all their pre-judging. We did our pre-judging. Then they all needed to come back on stage for finals, and then back on stage. So I think I had like a nap in the auditorium at one stage. But then, I mean, show days I get very excited as well. So then I'd be backstage, like, yeah. So I didn't get on stage for my like the finals round. It was like 1:30 in the morning or something like that. I think by the time I actually got off stage, like after the presentations and stuff, it was like 2 a.m. So it was a long day.
Did you find it challenging to sort of get the enthusiasm and the energy back up again?
No, because I was very enthusiastic. Like I love show day. I thrive on it. So for me, like, and obviously after pre-judging, I knew that I was in the mix at least. Like I knew I was in the top 4, that kind of thing. So I think I was just super excited. Like I love show day. Like Joey always used to tell me, like, you need to stop running around and being excited. Now, like if I get up for a second, he's like, sit back down. Like,
yeah. Get off your legs.
Yeah, literally. So I didn't have any problem, but I know for a lot of people it was definitely a long day. It was more just me being impatient, like, I want to get on stage, like, come on. Yeah.
Oh, so you went out for obviously you know, the awards, and you won, right? You took out another world title. How was that moment? Because that's like WNBF is obviously the biggest natural fed in the world. So it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, that was cool. There's like, again, I love the photos for me because in those moments, half the time, it's so much happening. So I love when they kind of capture the moments. But yeah, there is a moment when I kind of found out, which is one of my favorite photos again. Yeah, that again was just like, obviously going into that show, I didn't know what to expect. It was my first overseas show, but on that step out, when I'd be doing my cardio, like all I was envisioning was like winning my pro card over there, like winning that title. So that's what I just was envisioning the whole time. But yeah, but then even like backstage looking at all the girls, I was like, oh God, like I'm in trouble here. Like, yeah, really not knowing. So it was, it was definitely like a surprise for sure, but it was amazing. And again, the moment kind of when we got off stage and then kind of got to go back and like hug Joey, it was, that was really special. And then obviously my family and stuff like that all watching, you know, back home as well. So then getting to kind of call them like after, it was,
That's exciting. That's so cool. So you've conquered the ICN world title and pro card. You've conquered WNBF.
Yeah.
At what stage did you go, you know what, I think I can tackle IFBB?
Yeah. So I'd say from like 2018. So that year I knew that I wanted to. for sure. I did want to tick off the WNBF Pro win off first, which I was in prep for in 2020, but the events in 2020 meant that didn't happen. That was like my initial thing, but from that 2018, it was definitely when I was like, oh, like I do want to do this, but again, I knew like I needed more time still. So, but when you talk about then like 2019, I remember watching like the Olympia in 2019 when Isa Puccini won, and I was just like, yeah, wow, like I was just so in awe of her, so in awe of him, and I knew 100% I wanted to do it.
Yep.
It was going to happen, and it was just kind of a matter of like when I could do it, because I mean I'm very competitive. Like I don't do it just to go on stage. I obviously love it. Like I'm so passionate about it, and I love the process. But I also still wanted to like the first time I stood on the IFBB stage, do it knowing that I belonged and that I, you know, had the ability to kind of still be competitive and, you know, yeah, belong on that stage. So that's why it just kind of was just grinding until 2022 when I finally stepped on that stage and Joey was like, yep, you're ready.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And you did well on that in that first IFBB season, right? I think you got seconds. Is that right?
I got 4 seconds that season. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're right in the mix because they only placed top 3 in all feds, right? Unlike some of the other natural feds. So that obviously must have inspired you. You know what? I'm ready for this. I belong. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, look, honestly, like the second that the second my foot hit the stage, like the second I got on there that first time and got to do my routine, I was just like, I am home. Like to me, it just felt like home. I was like, this is where I belong. And yeah, from that moment, it was like, yeah, I'm just going to, I mean, I already was giving everything, but giving more, just like focusing my 100%, you know, dedication and stuff like that. It just cemented that, yes, the IFBB is the exact journey and path that I want to go down. So yeah.
Was there any doubts in your mind, given that it is an untested fed and you're obviously a natural athlete and obviously quite proud of that? Was there any doubt, given that you may be up against enhanced athletes, you know?
Yeah, I did experience a lot of doubt that first prep for sure. Okay. I was still enjoying it, but I remember having like a couple of conversations with Joey and being like, am I too small? There definitely was like doubt in there, but I just knew that I had put in the time, I'd put in the work, and I just really just wanted to see, where I stood up, where I belonged. I tried not to put too much expectations on myself for that. Again, I still really, really wanted to do well. But yeah, did I experience that? For sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So fast forward to season B 2023.
Yeah.
Obviously you did states, nationals, and then you went overseas. So walk us through that experience, because there was a lot of, I guess, ups and downs in that season, shall we say, given you probably had heightened expectation in terms of, or maybe put a lot of pressure on yourself to do better than the previous IFBB season. So, you know, I was at both of those, the states and nationals, with clients, and I watched you compete. So you won the states, but not the overall. Is that right? You won all your divisions at nationals, but not the overall. But you're obviously incredibly close on all occasions. So talk us through that, because obviously you must have known you were pretty damn close, given the results in the early divisions for both shows.
Yeah. For the nationals, do you mean?
Well, for both, going from states into nationals, it was almost a mirror image of what happened for both.
Literally, yeah. Well, after like 2022, when I got all those silvers, like I was just like, I am going to do everything in my power to make these gold. Like I don't want, I really want that gold, and I really did. So when I got to states, I obviously won my novice division and won my open division. I won the posing award as well that year. So once I kind of, and I'd beat, you know, like for girls who kind of beat me at nationals, like, you know, the year before. So that was really, really good. I obviously loved the state show, like with all the Queensland girls, you know, but I really wanted that Queensland overall. Like for me, I wanted the posing award, I wanted that crown, but I wanted that Queensland overall. And just down on that. After speaking to a judge, like I know, like I got second in the overall, so I knew that I was close to it. So that was like, I was still so excited though, and so happy with the fact that I had got the 2 golds, because that is really what I wanted. But of course I was a bit disappointed, like damn, I was so close to getting that overall. But anyway, it's fine. We got nationals, like, and I had 3 weeks in between as well. Normally, like the last show, I only had a week between. So I was like, cool, got 3 weeks in between. So yeah, went into nationals as well.
Did you get feedback from the state show, the judges? Were you able to?
Yeah. Not like as much in terms of my physique. Like it was more pretty much just like don't change anything. You know, stage presence stuff like that was all good. Like blah blah blah. It was just like one judge kind of said, "Oh, I'm not sure about the lipstick and like the bikini color."
Okay.
But yeah. So, but then I managed to kind of speak to another judge like just before it, and it was mainly just obviously that I was just smaller essentially. So yeah, Philip, who won, like she's got a very impressive physique. She's a lot taller, like a bit more muscle and stuff like that. So yeah, we did get a little bit leaner though, just because we were looking at all the other overall winners and stuff like that, and they were quite lean. We didn't want to go too hard for that state show because especially you know, the season before they were going that bit more softer look, so we didn't really want to push it too much. I love getting lean, so I was like, yeah, let's like push, and we did, which was good. Just refine my posing and stuff like that a little bit as well, of course, just to make sure that you're, you know, every little 1% just to make sure that you really are coming in better. So definitely did that with my front pose a little bit. And then yeah, like I knew the nationals class was gonna be tough. Like I knew. Yeah. So I won my novice class. But then like my open class was, yeah, it was tough. And then we had they did another top 2 call out as well in the open class as well. So I was so nervous when they were doing like announcing those awards. Like I was like so nervous, like more nervous I think than I've been in any of my other shows, because I really wanted that open win. Like I really wanted to be in that overall to be able to have that chance to go for that pro card. So yeah, luckily that did go my way. So I was very, very excited to get that gold as well. And then, yeah, then it went to the overall, which was, yeah, 5 of us in there. And from, obviously I didn't watch it myself, but from what I've heard from a lot of people, it was like the strongest and most competitive kind of overall, like that there'd been, how tough it was. So yeah, I missed out again.
But you know what, like, did you have, because obviously you went on to compete overseas at a couple of shows, and you know we all know the ending, but we'll talk about that in a sec. Was that preconceived? Because obviously your ambition was to secure that pro card, right? So did you have in place a plan to go to multiple shows post the nationals, assuming that you weren't going to win, just as a bit of a plan B? Yeah, that was in. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So that's why it was kind of like a bittersweet, I suppose. Like it was disappointing knowing how close I was. Like that was tough, but it also meant that I knew I could compete overseas.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it was kind of like, okay, like I missed this, but I get to compete overseas. And for me, getting to do Amateur Olympia was another goal and dream that I've kind of had for many years. So it obviously meant that, that I got to do that show. So I had, obviously everything was booked and we were going to the Olympia after that, all of that. So all of it was booked. It was just going to be, if I wear my pro card, well, cool. I wear my pro card and then we just go to holiday. And then Joey obviously had to be there later for like clients anyway. So all I really needed to do was I'd had everything. Actually, no, I'd even booked my hair. I'd booked everything. I kind of knew the fact that, oh, well, if I wear my pro card, I was going to lose that money, and hair and makeup over in America with the conversion rate is very expensive. But that was like something, oh, well, if I wear my pro card, I just wanted to ensure it was all booked, so I had good times, like blah, blah, blah. So I didn't really have to do anything. Like everything was all set in place anyway. I just hadn't registered yet. So all booked my tan. So yeah, after that I was like, okay, got to book my tan, got to register, but everything else was kind of all ready to go for me for Amateur Olympia anyway. The shows after that I hadn't booked as much, but I'd had accommodation that I knew I could had flexibility with that was booked as well. But yeah,
unreal. So to take us into the Amateur Olympia, I'm going to, because I've never been, and obviously attached to the official Olympia, the pro show stuff. I'm going to assume and excuse the pun, it's like, you know, the shows over here on steroids, pretty much. It's just bigger and better and bolder and lighter and more energy and atmosphere and all the sorts of things. Yeah,
it was like massive. Like there was how many, like 9 bikini divisions or something like that.
Wow.
Like, okay. There was a lot of us bikini girls. Like I remember when they kind of moved us into the marshalling area. Yeah, just everywhere.
Was that overwhelming? Because obviously they're all gunning for a pro card too.
Right? Not as much. I was more in my own world. I think I was more just like focused on myself and pumping up myself. And I mean, I had 2 of the other Aussie girls as well who I'd become like friends with and stuff like that. So I had like my little like group as well. But when it kind of went back there, we were in our own divisions and stuff like that. So it was very much just like focusing, on that. So Yeah, it was big. Like the way everything's run and organized and stuff like that is like top tier. Obviously, they do it, it's their job. They do it every weekend. Like all those, if they're at the NPC shows or the IFBB shows, they're there. So that part of it, yeah, was very good. All the tanners and stuff like that. It was all just so smooth because they just do it every week. Like, yeah. I mean, we didn't really know like stage times and stuff like that. That was all a little bit of a guess. We didn't get like running orders and stuff like that. Like we kind of all we knew was the division order. That was essentially it. So we didn't know how many divisions there were in all the other categories. Like, I don't know, at least bikini I knew because I knew what height class I was in, but yeah, the other stuff, not so much. They kind of knew the judges, obviously, again, because they do it so long. We weren't on stage for like as long as say, the shows in Australia. So in that regard, like, I mean, I loved Australia because we got so much stage time. Like that overall, we were on stage forever. Like that, the open class, like we were on stage forever. Whereas they're so good at it. They know exactly what they want that it's just like, yep. Like,
Wow.
New here, this call out, like whatever. Yeah.
And how'd you go in that show? Talk us through the result.
Yeah, I got second in that show.
Okay. But you could only do an open class, right? You weren't eligible for novice anymore.
There was no novice anyway.
Oh, okay.
Over there, they only had masters, and then open. So I got second. So which I know when you think about it, like amateur Olympia, you got second at the amateur Olympia, like a world international show. That's amazing, but I was disappointed. Like I'm not gonna lie.
I understand. Yeah, of course. As you say, you keep saying you're very competitive. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also coming off like all the other wins and stuff like that, and then I knew like then I was like, damn, like I don't get to fight for it in the overall. Yeah, so it was happiness, but it was also kind of like,
Fair enough. Yeah. But the story's not over yet because then you obviously tried to go to the Bahamas of all places.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the thing too is obviously America, they have shows all the time and all like a lot more pro qualifiers and stuff like that. But we can only do shows like as Australians, like if they're I've just literally forgotten the name of it. I've just blanked. Worldwide, sorry. The NPC worldwide. So if they're a worldwide show. So because there was a couple of other shows, on that weekend. So say the one I did Bahamas, I know there was one in Texas, but that was only for American citizens. So so I was just lucky that when I was looking through the shows, and I literally had this in the pipeline, like I was like, well, I'm doing Amateur Olympia, I'm doing this show. I'm doing that show from when the schedule was released the year before. Like I already, even though I didn't really announce it or talk about it really like to people, like that was always on the pipeline. It was just a matter of, like what was going to happen. So I decided to do that. So I'd already had the accommodation like booked. We hadn't booked the flights yet just because we weren't sure. But decided I did want to sleep on it though. After I think I was just a little bit disheartened. I just wanted to just like real check in with myself. I suppose just to see like, can I definitely do this? Had a sleep and I was like, no, I am like gunning for this. Like I believe in myself. Like I still had a lot more left in the tank. I was like, I am not ready to give this up. Like, especially having the opportunity, like in Australia, we only have 2 pro cards in the whole year. So the fact that I was over there, I had another opportunity to win my pro card. Absolutely. I was like, no, booking flights, booking tan, booking makeup. So the Bahamas show. And I had another show lined up as well.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Yeah, right. Can I ask, you just mentioned obviously if you still had a lot in the tank, obviously having walked the bodybuilding line several times myself, that obviously fatigue is quite a big thing at the back end of the season. So were you experiencing a lot of fatigue, a lot of just dragging your feet around and that sort of stuff at this time?
I definitely was, but when I went to America, it's just like I had this whole extra tank, just like, I mean, just the excitement, because when you think about it, that week I competed amateur Olympia on the Tuesday. And then, I mean, me and Joe went to like Universal on the Wednesday, and then the actual official Olympia weekend started on the Thursday. So I was amongst it all. Like I went to the press conference, I went to meet the athletes that night, went to watch the pre-judging, so it was just, I was so in it, and I was at that stage living my dream. Like I can't even explain it. And I just had so many people message me saying like, you look like you're just living your dream. Like you're so happy. And I'm like, I am. And all I was doing that week, essentially, I was in prep. Like a lot of it, I was just going down, eating my food, sitting by the pool, training, obviously, doing cardio, whatever, but I was just amongst it, like in that lifestyle, and I was just on cloud 9. Like I was so happy. So I was like, no, I've got more in me. Like I want to do this. I want to keep doing it. Yeah.
Yeah, unreal. Okay, cool. So you jump a flight to the Bahamas, book that show in.
Yeah.
Talk us through it, because obviously we all know the end result, but talk us through the show day and then, you know, the experience of the event.
Yeah. So it's kind of funny because Bahamas has been a destination that I'd wanted to go to since I was a little girl.
Yeah, right.
Just because I watched like a movie and they went to the Bahamas, and me and my best friend and my sister were all just like, we want to go there. And then the show ended up being at that exact same hotel.
Oh, was it really? Oh, wow.
So yeah,
Oh,
so I'd always kind of wanted to go to the Bahamas. So I was just heck yeah, like I was very excited about it.
yep.
So we flew there. We only flew in the day before because it was literally like a half an hour flight from Miami. So we went we went to Miami after Orlando, where Olympia was.
Yep.
And then it was just that half an hour flight. So we did that. And obviously that was just chill. I'd already done my training and stuff like that. So just eating all the carbs, you know, that day and all the extra food. And then, you know, went to Red Joe. And yeah, people I hadn't really kind of told people that I was kind of doing that show again. I was just in my own world over there. Obviously my close friends and stuff like that knew. But then yeah, and then I did the show. So I think it was a lot more relaxed, that kind of like into that show as well. Like Joey had started reversing me as well. I'd had like less cardio, all that type of stuff. And it just kind of, even half the time, felt like I wasn't even in prep. Like it was just, I don't know, just going along with the motions, whatever. I was just very relaxed.
Did you feel that made a difference because you were so relaxed?
Maybe it did, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Not sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Joey gave me like literally like food wise, it was a little bit different as well, like that night, because he knew obviously by then I did a 31-week prep in total. So I'd been in prep for almost 31 weeks. Like even at Amateur Olympia, he could tell, he was like, you were looking a bit flat. You're definitely looking flat.
Harder to fill out.
I need to fill you out. So after the Amateur Olympia, like we'd obviously gone out to have like a meal, like burgers and stuff like that. Because he was like, you need to eat. Like normally after all the other shows, it's very structured what I eat. But after Amateur Olympia, he's like, no, you need to. And he kind of really liked how I looked the day after. He was like, you actually look full again. Like there's all that extra like sodium and like fats and stuff like that. So did a little bit similar, obviously not to that extreme, but before that show, like I did have a burger like for dinner, which is again something that I've never done. I was very nervous.
I was about to say, how did you feel about that?
Yeah, because I'm very like, I went in prep, like I won't let anyone else touch my meal. I won't let anyone else prep my meal. So for me, like I was just like, are you sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Like about 500 times. But he was like, we've already got the data. Like I've been watching, like he was literally there to like watch me. So anyway, and then it turned out like I think after 31 weeks, my body just needed that, and he knew what my body needed. He clearly knows my body very well. So woke up, like really happy with kind of how we looked. And just chill, like went to get my hair and makeup done, went to the show. Did the show, did my division, obviously won my division. And then went to the overall. There was 6 of us in the overall. Kind like I knew that I was kind of in the mix because I was moved, like I was in the middle, but again, like I really didn't know like how it was gonna go. Moved us off onto the side, and then then they called my number, and that was just like shock. Yeah, that was
I know. I remember talking to Joey in India about it, and he said, he thought you'd won before they called you, but again, you don't know, right? Because this is bikini. I would hate to judge IFBB Bikini. I think it'd be so
absolutely.
So
and what was good is because he bought like the VIP tickets as well. So he was like close, so I could see him when they announced it. And I remember just like watching his face, like mouth just like dropped open. And I was just kind of looking at him, and I was just like, oh my God. So that was a pretty cool moment, getting to actually, because normally like, you know, the other competitions, I can't see him. Like I can hear him. I know roundabouts where he is, but like, you know, it's dark. Whereas then like, it was like, so that was a very special moment. Then like obviously they go when they start they interview you a little bit, and again, the stairs seems to be just when I envision all of my doing cardio, like doing the Stairmaster seems to be when I just envision it. That seems to be always gets me through prep, getting through those things. And I can't even tell you the amount of times that I would kind of like just say like a speech in my head, or just like envision that moment and stuff like that. I kind of knew what I'd say and who I'd thank and stuff like that. But when I got there, my mind was blank. Like I literally was just, it was just, like literally when they say you're speechless, like I was definitely speechless. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, I can't really tell you what I said. I don't remember, but
No,
it was
that's
nothing
okay.
of what I wanted to.
Yeah. So obviously, you won the IFBB Pro Card, which you've been chasing for several years now. Was there a point and particularly last year in that journey where you'd fallen short at the state overalls, you'd fallen short at the national overalls, you'd fallen short at the Olympia? Was there any doubt in your mind? You thought, oh, maybe this isn't my year?
When I got the second in amateur Olympia.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there was that little bit of a doubt. I then kind of moved on from it like quite quickly. Then I just reminded myself, like, did I experience that doubt? Yeah, that's why I said I need to just have a night just to think about this before I, do the Bahamas. But I just this year again, my mindset and my belief in myself, even those shows when I just missed out on the overall in Queensland, when I just missed out, at nationals, I still just really believed in myself. Like I believed it was my time, like for sure. As in, I believed that I was ready or that I was worthy of it. Whether or not it was actually going to be my time, you can't control that. Like, you can't control who turns up. Like, you can't control any of that, like what the judges want and stuff like that. So obviously, I knew that there was a chance that I couldn't get it, absolutely. But I just knew in my heart that I at least knew that I was worthy of it this year. Whereas, say, 2022, no, like I knew that I wasn't ready yet, for it. This year, it was just, I just had that belief and kind of confidence in myself, and just had to kind of like trust it and just see what happens. Really, at the end, you don't know. It's a subjective sport. You don't know what's going to happen. I just knew that I'd put in the work, and that, if I did win it, then I guess it was deserving, because the judges, kind of decided that.
100%. That's it. So obviously you've mentioned Joey several times now. I'd love to, because I've asked him this same question on one of my podcasts previously in regards to your relationship as an athlete, but you're also partners, right? So do the lines get blurred in that respect, or does he just put his coaching hat on when he's coaching you, but then obviously outside of that, you guys are just life partners? Like, it's an interesting dynamic. I find, How does that? Has there been discussions, arguments, clashing in regards to decisions and all sorts of stuff, or is it pretty smooth?
I think we handle it very well. Like, I really do think that we do. Like, I know some couples, like, we obviously know a lot of couples in the industry. Like, some they work great together. Some they're like, no, like, I'm gonna have my partner coach me. I think definitely do it well. Do we have to? Sometimes I'll have to say to him, like, I need you to be my boyfriend right now instead of my coach. Or he might say, I'm telling you this as your coach, or something like that. But it's not really something that has caused issues or anything like that with us. Like, we do handle it quite well. I suppose as we get closer, I just like to question him a little bit more down the years over decisions, like, just like stuff like that.
Should I be eating this burger the night before a show?
Literally. Whereas, like, if he had told me that like 5 years ago, I'd have been like, whatever you say. But no, honestly, I'm lucky, and I'm lucky that it doesn't really affect our relationship. And honestly, if it did, then potentially maybe I would need another coach. But we handle it really well. And honestly, there is no one else that I would trust to do my prep. Absolutely not. Like, it's been 7 years. He knows my body like so well.
Of course,
and not only, and obviously, we've grown together. Like, he's grown as a coach, I've grown as an athlete, stuff like that. And I believe in his potential. I know everyone else knows how amazing he is. I just honestly believe, that he's an exceptional coach, and I don't want anyone else to coach me. So
fair enough.
And another thing too is that I want to do it with him. Like, what I used to say about, even like with the IFBB thing, like, I wanted to be his first IFBB Pro. I wanted it to be something that, we could do together and that we could experience, so it's just as much his win as it kind of was mine. So
that's cool. That's cool. Unreal. So what's next? That's the biggest question. So, obviously I guess you've climbed the mountain in terms of the pro card, but there's still more to go, right?
I'm right at the bottom of the mountain again.
You've climbed the first mountain, and then you've looked up and gone, oh crap, there's another one.
Yeah, literally. This is like the biggest mountain that there is out of all of them. So I really haven't seen anything yet.
So we're talking Olympia, right? That's the end game.
Oh, if you're talking about what's my ultimate dream, ultimate goal, absolutely. Ultimate dream is to win Miss Olympia, of course. But there is many goals and stuff like that I need to do first. So obviously the first thing and the first goal is to do my pro debut.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I know
we don't have pro shows in Australia, do we? For IFBB?
they have in the past. There hasn't been any for a couple of years. So the
Yep.
last one, they actually did one in 2022,
Okay.
in season A when I competed last time.
Okay.
They're obviously very, very expensive to put on,
Yep.
as well. So we'll see. Apparently, there's talks of there being one in 2025.
Right.
In Australia for bikini, you know, the bigger, more popular divisions anyway. I'm not sure if that's actually going to happen or not. But 2025 is the plan. That's when I will be competing, like regardless if there's one in Australia or not.
Okay.
For me, my goal and dream anyway, especially after being in America, is to go over there for, you know, a month or two and just get to travel around. Like they have pro shows every single weekend. I'm already looking at the 20, because it's pretty similar. I'm already looking at it going, oh, I will do this, I will do this, I will do this. Like, I'm so excited. Like, I would love to do it this year. Like, absolutely love. Like, I'm just gutting to just be able to get on that pro stage.
Yep.
But I also know that I have work to do, and I still have some more growing to do. I'm still very tiny, up against the pros. So this whole year, is just for me to grow, just for me to
Unreal.
work at finding those improvements and stuff like that. And then it'll be 2025. So
exciting.
if there's a pro show in Australia, then I'll try center it around that.
Yep.
If not, it'll either be like, you know, the June, July, August time, or like late October, November, kind of factoring in season B in Australia, I suppose, as well.
Yep.
So we'll just kind of wait till it gets a little bit closer to see. But I'm very, very, very excited for that. Yeah, and just to like, you know, just knowing now that I mean, I kind of already am living my dream. Like for me, winning an IFBB Pro Card was a dream. Like it was just a dream, and then it was a goal, and then it was a reality. So for me, again, I now know that when I'm standing up on stage, like I can be up against my idols, like, you know, the Olympias, the Jen Dories, that Angelica's just come back from having a baby. Like she was someone who was always, you know, I thought she'd retired, and now the opportunity for me to be able to, you know, be on stage with all these girls who were just my idols, who I met at the like Olympia meet and greet, just to now know that I can be on stage and be next to them. It's crazy.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
So how does the off season look then in regards to planning for that? Because obviously that's a very specific goal. We're not going to just tackle, you know, multiple shows or whatever. It's obviously IFBB over in America. So training, are you practicing your posing every single day? Like, how does it look for you in terms of obviously now stepping it up to be that IFBB Pro?
Yeah, so with that, it comes getting a new routine as well, like for posing, because we're allowed longer. So the pros get longer to do their individual routine. So that's exciting because I obviously love it. So absolutely refining that with my posing coach, Shanae, who I just adore. So we'll be doing that. In terms of training, it's just really focusing on, you know, just bringing out those points. So my feedback, I managed to speak to like the judge after I won my pro card, as well. And he pretty much had kind of said, like, your proportions, like, you know, your stage versions, everything's amazing. Just those proportions, just bigger. Just a little bigger. So, you know, a bit more delts, a bit more glutes, a bit more legs. Me and Joey also noticed my arms look I've always had skinny arms. So again, we're just going to try just build them up a little bit as well. So just really like overall growth, but just really, I've got to grow. So, I mean, there will be probably like, you know, a mini cut or two in there, depending on how it'll, you know, how that'll happen. But at the moment, I'm 10 weeks post show now. So the reverse is all like done. We're just in a surplus now, and
feeling good, high energy, just excited.
Yeah. So we'll have more of a plan, I suppose, and we know exactly what time, if I'm doing like, you know, July, August, or kind of mid-year, whatever. But again, if that happens, my actual prep won't be starting until like Jan next year either. So obviously the exact plan we'll know a little bit more when it gets a little bit closer. But
how exciting. Unreal. So all right, so take it back to your 2014 debut year. What advice would you give yourself now, given the trajectory that you've been on? You know, or okay, let's rephrase the question. You've got obviously first timers or novice competitors that have that ambition to maybe make it to IFBB stage, compete internationally, pro card, all that sort of stuff. What's the advice?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose there's a lot, but I'll just start, I suppose, and then just keep going through them. I think the first one as well, especially if they're going into their first show, is to be realistic about your expectations as well, especially when it comes to the first show. Like, I know it's obviously on a lot more social media and stuff like that now, but a lot of, like, I see a lot of girls going into that first show expecting so much on that first show that they want to win their pro card on their first go, or they want to win their overall on the first time. And I just want to say, like, enjoy your times in the amateur ranks, for sure. Like, enjoy that time, really spend that time getting to, you know, grow as an athlete, mature as an athlete and stuff like that. I'm honestly glad that it took me. Like, I did my first show in 2014. I didn't win my first pro card till 2018.
There you go.
And I'm so glad that it did, because I had so many things I wanted to, you know, tick off. Obviously, I had all those little milestones that I kind of wanted to achieve. And I'm glad, because it had definitely helped me having to work for it so much, you know, for so many years. I really just got to understand the importance that, you know, of being consistent, of, you know, staying focused on that goal.
Resilience.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. So yeah, that's just definitely something for first time competitors that I do want to say. And that it's going to take time, and just know that, you know, it did. Like, for me, I started in 2014. I won my IFBB Pro Card in 2023. Like, it's been a long time. Obviously, you know, some people do it straight away. Some people only have to take 2 or 3 years. Like, I only started training in the gym when I was 22. Like, it's, so not like that, but yeah, just know, just understand and be committed and patient. And another thing too, I suppose, if you do have that dream, it's just really ensuring that you are so passionate about it, because when you're doing the same thing day in, day out, remaining so committed in your off season, in your prep, like, you've got to love it. Like, you've got to be passionate about it. And that's why, you know, I think I've been able to be at it for so long and still have that ambition, that drive, that excitement just to do it every day, is just because I genuinely love it so much. Like, I really, really do. So
absolutely. Oh, you can tell. You can just tell by the enthusiasm in your I suppose it helps to have a good coach too, Rod.
I suppose, yeah.
He has a little bit to say.
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He is a big reason for my success as well. I know he likes to be very humble and just deflect all the praise to his competitors. But yeah, absolutely.
But actually, speaking of that, like, you know, if you've got a first timer or someone who's sort of, you know, venturing into the sport, making sure that they get the right coach is very important, right? You've obviously seen, you know, you've been backstage, you've obviously been with Joey for a while, but there's a lot of great coaches out there, but there's also a lot that are relatively inexperienced when it comes to this process, because it can be quite daunting, but also, you know, it's a fairly aggressive approach in terms of getting down to low body fat percentages and stuff. So someone's got to have your back in that regard, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And they need to be someone that you can trust, and you really do feel comfortable, you know, to ask questions and stuff like that as well. Like, I think it's definitely a red flag if you kind of ask your coach, oh, if you just kind of want to understand why, and they just like, let's do it. Like, just, you know, don't. So I think that's very important as well. And also, you know, maybe the first prep, the coach is also still kind of learning your body and stuff like that as well. So also just, you know, I say that just because sometimes I see competitors like coach swap and stuff like that. They may do one show, they don't get the result they want, so they'll automatically go to another coach. Like, that's not going to magically, like, you know, fix something. Like, there's a lot of other elements, stuff like that go into it. For sure. Yeah. And then I suppose if you're talking like bikini competitors as well, just not underestimating the importance of posing and presentation, stage presence.
I actually referenced in the podcast I did with Joe in India, or one of them. I referenced a moment. You've obviously listened to it. In Townsville, we were we were all catching up for, you know, because we all only ever see each other at shows, right? How it all works. It's so weird. So we all caught up for a beer at Longboards, and this was obviously for the Townsville show. And I think Monty asked Joey where you were, and he said, "Oh, she's gone home to eat and practice her posing." And straight away that just clicked in the back of my head. And I said, "Wow, that's dedication." But that's the requirement. That's you know, you're still several weeks out, but you wanted to make sure that was a priority.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really does, especially if you're talking about IFBB, like it's a whole nother level. And it's amazing. Even if you look at, you know, the Olympia this year, like Laura Lee, she got 4th, and she's someone who I even was listening to, because I listened to a podcast and watch reviews and stuff like that. Like after it, like coaches and I think even a judge was kind of saying, like, physique wise, like she was in that like 7, 8 place, but the way she poses, the way she looks on stage, just that aura, like everything about that, moved her up. Like it
Makes a
literally moved her up.
big,
So
big
it
difference.
really can, even just in terms of not even just the presentation, but just knowing how to, you know, hold your poses and stuff like that as well. Like it really can change the look. You can have the best physique on the day, but if you are not, you know, posing in a way that really highlights that, yeah, like I've seen it happen. I've seen people who they look incredible and they don't win because yeah, they're just not showing it off with their posing. Even the presentation, smile, like that's a big thing for me. Obviously, being a dancer, for me, the presentation accounts for so much, and it's something that I always notice,
Yes.
you know, on stage. But it really does matter, like so much. And if you're not, for me, like I don't need to practice smiling. I know as soon as I get on stage, that is my like element. I am home, like I just
Happy
shine.
place.
But for a lot of people though, like you need to practice smiling. You know, even like when you're rehearsing. And another thing too, practice without a mirror as well.
Yeah.
So
Good
you need to
tip.
practice with the mirror, but you also need to do half your posing away from the mirror and record yourself, because when you go on stage, you're not going to really, if you haven't practiced without it, like you're not going to really know how to adjust your poses and stuff like that
It's
if you
all
can't
on
see
feel,
yourself.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you need to just do it so routinely, just that it just, yeah,
It's
do
seamless
it.
and
And yeah,
effortless and
exactly. Yeah.
no
Effortless
block.
flow. That's so important for me. So yeah.
Well, you're right. I mean, you raise a really good point because, like I said before, I'd hate to judge IFBB Bikini because, you know, bikini compared to, say, I don't know, classic physique or something, you know, obviously their detail and their muscularity and their condition is so much further down the line, whereas bikini, the detail isn't as dissimilar. So
Yeah.
you know, posing would be so integral to you know, getting that that the judges to look at you compared to the next girl.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then also just like you said, because bikini is so hard to judge because it's more on that, you know, kind of that look and the way that that look, that hourglass look that they're kind of looking for, it does look better, like different on everyone.
Yeah.
So, and because bikini again is so subjective, just for first time competitors, you know, like if the results don't go your way, just remember that it is a subjective sport. It's no reflection on how hard you worked. Like, yeah, you could have worked harder than anyone, but at the end of the day, it's really, you know, how close your actual body on the stage looks to that criteria, how the judges view
Yeah.
it as how close you are to the right criteria. So yeah, just really like don't let it, you know, try not to let it get you down. Obviously you can be disappointed.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, just really just understanding that it is a subjective sport.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and you use
Yeah.
it to drive you further. You know, go again, go again. You know, keep chasing.
Yeah.
Unreal. Well, thank you, Lisa. I think we'll wind up there. I don't want to take up any
Thank
more of your
you.
time. I'm sure you've got a busy day ahead, but I'll round up on the last question I ask all guests, and that is, who would you have over for dinner? So it can be obviously anyone you like, fictional, non-fictional, live, dead, male, female, multiple people if you want to have, you know, multiple conversations. But basically, personality-wise, who would you love to sit down and have a really good chat with?
Yeah, I feel like I may be answering this wrong because I'm not really choosing anyone like famous, like that a lot,
No,
whatever.
it's
For me, it's honestly, if I could have people over for dinner, it is to have my closest friends and family all in one place. And I say
perfect.
that because obviously I live away from a lot of people who are close to me.
Sure.
So just to be able to just get that time, just to talk with them all in one place, it's something that it's kind of impossible for it to kind of happen just on a, you know, like just because everyone is all over, you know,
Yeah.
flights away and stuff like that. Just because, yeah, I'm so appreciative of my inner circle. I'm so grateful. So to have that, that is who I would choose. And then when it comes to, I think at the moment too, if there's people who I'd want to get at the table with me, these days with podcasts, I get to hear them speak anyway. Like I literally can't eat my dinner listening to them. You know, there's a lot of people who I do look up to and that I would love to have conversations with, but I get to listen to them like every week anyway, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's kind of my answer.
Okay, no, fair, absolutely. Like people have said their grandparents and, you know, all this sort of stuff before. So it's an open-ended question, you know, whoever you'd like, and that's your decision. So that's really cool. That's really nice. So if people want to obviously follow along your journey and, you know, the
Yeah.
road to 2025, what's your
Mhm.
Instagram's your primary sort of social media, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah. So it's just Instagram, Lisa Jane Reid.
Lisa Jane,
Um,
easy.
yeah, that's it.
Fantastic.
I'm trying to share more. I'm not very good at sharing things on social media. I guess I always just started and it was just a thing for me competing. Like I didn't really share much at all.
Yep.
Probably a bit of a private person, but I really am trying to make more of an effort, especially when it comes to this, you know, 2025
Yep.
kind of pro debut as well. I have had people kind of say, we really want to see what you do. So
yeah, absolutely.
definitely, absolutely. And I suppose, just now, like as an IFBB Pro, I want to be able to share a little bit more of my journey and stuff like that as well, because I'm sure
100%.
I love, like I said, I love watching the journey of all of my idols in the industry. So
Absolutely. Well, there could be a first timer out there that is following along, and you inspire them to follow your path. So that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's wild to even think about. But
That's true. That's very true. Unreal. Well, look, I'll wind it up there, but thank you, Lisa. I really appreciate your time. It was a great insight into, obviously, what's been a long journey, but a very successful one. You've obviously put in tremendous amount of work, and with that comes a lot of passion and dedication. So, you're a testament to that. And, anyone who's listening will probably join me in wishing you the best in regards to your future endeavors. And we'll watch with bated breath in terms of the next time you're on stage, for sure, with achieving great success.
Thank you so much.
No
I really appreciate it. And I've enjoyed getting to have the chat with you too. I know I listen to Joey chatting with you on there all the time. So my turn.
It was your turn. And I'll grab him every chance I get, because he's obviously a wealth of knowledge. But I thought, you know what, let's give Lisa a go.
No, thank you.
No problem at all. Thank you very much.